Hello all, welcome to a next episode of GitHub Copilot. Today we are going to see my journey with my AI companion. Along with me, Copilot is also there. We both will be presenting what exactly our journey is. So it's a narration of my journey along with the companion. You may be able to relate to this. Some of you may be in the beginning or the middle of this journey itself. As a developer, I started my journey long back before even the AI companion comes in my life. Started with the CLI based or Notepad based development areas. I know some of you may not even dream about developing a program using CLI and Notepad. So let us start with IDE, the Integrated Development Environment. Maybe a VS Code or Visual Studio or Eclipse, a number of IDEs are available. The initial version of IDEs supported compilation, publishing the code or packaging the solutions, error fixing kind of thing. No support for the syntax areas, which eventually given a home library for most of us, those who started the early version of IDE, we filled our home library with a lot of books for referring the syntax of the particular programming language. Later, the IDE came with an IntelliSense, a built-in language support which provide the syntax or the functionalities, the corresponding features available as part of each of the libraries. Even it helps us to import the corresponding namespaces or dependencies to the applications. Now the IDEs are rich enough. We may not be able to explore the kind of features available in an IDE. If you take Visual Studio itself, how many of you are using more than 10 features of Visual Studio? We may have around 5,000 or 10,000 features embedded in a Visual Studio itself. It's very hard to understand each and every of these IDE features. At the same time, coping up with our programming language developments. We started our journey with AI companions. It's taken our journey one more place above the IDE with IntelliSense. Some of you may be stuck at IDE with IntelliSense, not yet started your journey with AI companions. I recommend you, if you want to continue your journey as a developer, you should adopt one of the AI companions. I'm going to show you how my journey with my AI companion, none other than GitHub Copilot, you can adopt one of the AI companion that's a mandatory for any developers foreseeing a future in development areas. As a developer, our core activity is coding. We love to do coding and coding. The initial stages, coding is the main focus of the developers. So I started my journey with a companion back in 2022 with coding assistance. My A companion helped me complete the code and translate the commented requirements into code and autocomplete altogether. So let us see quickly how this code completion or how this AI companion helped me achieve my coding activities or help me fasten my coding activities. I'm going directly into a demo right now. So I'm starting with C# code where I provide my requirement as define a method using regex to validate email. Remember, I am in C#. It required a specific format, but I don't mind whether it's defined the classes, defined the required importing aspects and everything. Instead of that, I just asked I need a method which needs to do regular expression based email validation. Let me see how Copilot is coming up with the end-to-end solution. As you can observe that the entire code is developed by Copilot itself. You can observe that it's taken the namespace, that's a construct required for a C# class, and it's defined a class library, and the method which my requirement is validation of email, it's provided a proper name and the input string, and the email validation is done with a particular regex format. And this entire code is developed along with the try catch, exception handling and everything. And the proper email is defined here also. So this one is the replacement of the email in case @ and dot is there, it's getting replaced. But here I am doing the actual validation kind of thing. So you can review the entire thing and see how nicely the Copilot converted my requirement from the comment to a code model. This is the way Copilot or my AI companion assisted me in coding area. This is one of them. If I go ahead and start asking for next one, I am not specifying any comment. Instead of that, I start typing the code. Copilot brings the completion based on the context of the file. As my first method is for validation email, I may be looking for validation of phone number. That's why it's suggested either you can go ahead and accept that, or you can continue your typing saying that you are looking something else. I'm looking at validate. What to validate? It says phone number came, and instead of phone number, I need to validate my SSN number. You can observe that the Copilot changed the suggestion to SSN validation. Let me change it to something else. Validate the name. So I am going to validate the name, and it's come up with a new suggestion. So once you type your code, Copilot is able to get the new suggestions. It's not only one suggestion. You can see there are multiple suggestions are there. You can go ahead and review the suggestions, and based on which one is appropriate for you, accept that one. Just a tap to accept, or if you want one-liner acceptance, I am going ahead and accepting the second option. This is the one I have accepted. So 2 areas the Copilot supported me in coding. One is when I need a requirement, I have the requirement in a commented form. It's able to generate the code which almost support my coding requirement. When I start typing the code or start preparing a new method or class, Copilot is going to suggest me the code based on the previous methods or the context it's aware of, what may be the next method I am looking at. You can accept the one, compare the different suggestions and go ahead. So as a developer, this is not the only thing I am doing. As a developer, we do coding obviously, but out of 8 hours, you may be coding for 1 or 2 hours. The remaining time you spend on multiple other activities. You do n number of other elements in terms of documenting the requirement or the code altogether, unit testing, refactoring the existing code, bug fixes, localization, all the NFR implementations, review of your peers' code, different things you will do. Copilot also observe you as a companion. Obviously, he needs to learn what exactly I am doing and support me. He understands that coding is one area I am doing. There are n number of other areas I need support. And Copilot came with the next one. There is a Copilot chat feature which support me the different other aspects. So let us quickly see some of them, not all of them, some of the areas how Copilot supported me in my development journey. So starting with the same example itself, for example, this regex itself, if I am a developer who is dealing with the regex or dealing with the code developed by someone else, the first thing I need to understand is how to get an explanation. Either I can go with inline query or I can ask Copilot to explain me this code. What exactly this regex is doing. I may be dealing with a bug fix related to this email validation. Before doing any bug fix, obviously I need to understand what exactly this particular constraint is doing. As you can observe that Copilot is coming with detailed explanation of what and how this is done. and the explanation is continued. For example, Copilot is explained this one and I have a requirement to add some extra constraint in terms of the number of characters in an email should be maximum 200, something like that. So I can ask Copilot, revise this regex to include the check for length of email. Email should have maximum of let us see 100 characters. Ensuring that the email is of maximum of 100 characters. It's added that constraint. So directly I can import this one, or even you can explain this kind of what exactly this line is altogether, how this regex is going to impact our overall requirement. So this is one area. Saying that chat is not only for the other areas, sometimes we may need to generate the code as well. You can do chat with combining multiple contextual information. For example, in this particular C# class, I have a property controller. It's an API. It can be compared with your Java, Spring Boot or Node.js based API. Similar kind of thing. You have a .NET Core API defined here for dealing with the property. Property is the entity. For that, getting the property and get the property based on ID and getting the recent properties, posting it, all these are defined as part of this controller. And if I look at my SQL query, I have the properties query here. At the same time, there is an owner's query. So I need to construct an owner controller which can help me to do all the CRUD operations on this particular table. So I am going to ask Copilot, generate the owner controller class for the schema defined in, I'm referring a particular file, that is a DB script. And what else I need? Use the next file. So I need some kind of naming convention or the kind of controller I defined. So it should not mismatch with the consistency should be there between the controllers. So refer this controller and the schema and define a new controller class which can do all the CRUD operations for owner details table. So you can observe that it's defined. This is our property controller. Almost same import statements here and used the same namespace and the routing mechanism and defined as an owner controller. Under the owner controller, you have a get the ID by ID and a post. 3 methods are defined here. If you want a further method, you can add it. Either you can copy into a new file or copy and paste into a file altogether. It's up to you. So entire code generation based on existing file context is possible by using Copilot. Now we did the implementation. Well and good, we done the implementation. Obviously the next step will be how to do a unit testing. So as part of the same .NET file, I have a create seller method which need kind of unit testing. The simplest method is test. You just say test, generate the unit test for this selected code. Here I selected create seller. So Copilot is supposed to look at the technology behind it, that is C# and come up with the unit testing for this particular method. And you can see that it's providing the complete information, not only the test cases, what needs to be done apart from that. Obviously, I haven't added any test controller or test classes. I need to define a test class and also define the different methods. The setup, the test environment, test cases for record field, seller already exists, successful criteria. So 3 criteria are covered with the 3 different test cases. If I need a little more detailed test cases, instead of that this shortcut or the slash command of slash test, I can ask Copilot generate the test case for my code using these business requirement. Copilot will be able to generate the complete test case, which gives me almost 80 to 90% code coverage. And obviously you can go ahead and add more test cases with the help of Copilot to make the code coverage up to your requirement. So quickly let us move to the next aspect. We do the requirement, implementation, unit testing. Obviously, next step, most of the time we do a refactoring aspect. If the code is very heavy and lengthy one, we need to do a kind of refactoring. So you can do the refactoring multiple ways. Here I am going to look at how to refactor my code for readability, for improving readability. So I need to refactor this code for improving the readability aspects. Simply I am going ahead and asking Copilot to refactor my code. It's done the refactoring by dividing the code into 4 different methods. That's the first one, create settler. It internally linked to the other method, that is a has valid fields. This is the second method is invoked here, and the third method is invoked here, and the fourth one is here. So a proper refactoring with the invocation of multiple other methods are captured in this code. If it looks fine, you can do it. But as a developer, sometimes we may go with a refactor using design patterns, which we covered already in a previous video. You can have a look on that one, how you can refactor using different mechanisms, maybe a design pattern or extraction of the class, or based on your requirement you can refactor the code. Now let us move to the next phase. You did with your coding completion. Now obviously you need to review the code. For example, I am going to review this code. This is a Python code. I am shifting technologies to ensure that my AI companion is capable of supporting me in multiple technologies. Here I have a Python code and I am looking at review of this code. As a peer reviewer, I need to review this code against the naming convention set as part of my coding repo. Here I have a set of naming conventions. I need to review the code based on this one. So let me ask Copilot to review. What I need to review is the editor, whatever the editor code available based on the coding standards defined in file. Which file we have the coding standard? It's in the pynaming.json. So it works for any technologies. I am taking here as a Python code with some kind of coding mismatch kind of thing. It's a basic coding standard, but you can use Copilot to review against your performance requirement or security requirement and a number of other areas. So as it's observed here, it's come up with a complete suggestion. So it's going ahead. Let it go ahead and let me look at here the function name. The check prime should be changed to check underscore prime, means it's looking for a snake case. You can look at here. The function name should be snake case. It's defined there. That's what it's saying. Same way the variable names, it should be snake case. But here I used a different case. That's why the second one. And the indentation of the thing. And there is a line length. I have mentioned as maximum length is 79 character. There is no readability issues there. And we need a doc string as a comment. That's a style I specified. That is what it's got added here. and the remaining a set of suggestion in terms of improving the logic, improving the aspect of the function. So you will be able to review your code based on your requirements. Okay, the last one is the documentation. So let us quickly see how we can document it. For example, I need to add the documentation to this code. I can select this code and specify that document my code. So this will add the high-level documentation to my public methods. The .NET supported documentation constraint it's used, the summary and what's the input and the return types is captured properly. At the same time, it's added the documentation or the comments for the each of the lines of code, which explains the purpose of this code base. And if you want a detailed documentation, kind of a saga documentation, you can refer the previous video where a documentation approaches are explained in detail. So let us go back to our journey. So we done this one. It's good. As a developer, I got the support in the coding aspect and all other aspects like the NFR areas, unit testing, reviewing, refactoring, documentation, everything. But we are working as a team. We collaborate across multiple teams. On the fly, you may need some kind of support, and always it's difficult to sit and check the ID-based systems. So we need more support. Then the Copilot comes with or my AI companion came with a collaboration approach. It can collaborate across multiple systems. So let us see how Copilot help you collaborate on the github.com itself. To understand the code, discover more information about the README or the issues related to that, and how to generate a PR and query the wings altogether. Let me quickly move to the collaborative features. Now we are in a real estate application. Starting with the Copilot is available on top. You can ask Copilot different requirements. Now I am in this particular repository. Just want to ensure that the execution or set of information is captured in my README. Is the set of steps captured in README? So simple query. To understand what kind of set of queries are captured here, how it is able to do it. So it's able to give me the details, how each of the setups can be done, and it's captured as part of the README, and it's able to link to the README as well. And kind of the information it's required for the complete setup is available here. Now, you may be wondering what kind of technology is used in my particular area. So I can ask Copilot as a newbie. I may not aware of the technologies used in my project. I can ask Copilot to help me with that information. Most of the time we get this information as part of the KT from the senior developer kind of thing. Instead of that, you can directly ask Copilot to get the more details, what kind of information is done. And if you want to explore it further, where exactly this particular one is hosted, what is the port used. So let me go ahead for the next question with Copilot. What is the port used in by the front-end application? So there is a front-end and back-end application I can see. I need to see what kind of port is used by this particular application. So Copilot have the complete information about my repository, and it's able to give me the port used. As you can observe that there is a port 4000 is used by this one, and in a particular file, that is server.ts file, contains this port, and it's identified real estate app is my front-end application that is going to run in 4000 port. The complete information, what level of questions you want, it will be able to help. Or you can go into the code level and let me just tick on the property controller, you can see that the file level Copilot is also available. You can explore it further. So we will go in deeper into the chat functionality in a later time. So let me just quickly take you to the next collaboration angle. Most of the time we worked in a particular feature branch. So I'm in a branch search implementation. Once the branch is completed, you will be creating a pull request. The pull request description most of the time end up with one-liner saying implementation of XYZ feature. Instead of that, your companion is ready to summarize whatever the changes you've done. Most of the time, we do a kind of summarization. Most of the time, it's very difficult to summarize all the commits. One PR may consist of 10 or 20 different commits. Summarizing it becomes a difficult area. So with the help of Copilot, we are able to summarize the different features or the commits we did. And you can go ahead and create the pull request. It's a quick way of creation of pull request. Saying that, sometimes we may need to ask questions like what is the latest version of Angular. So it's out of the box question. It's even though related to coding but not specific to my particular repository. As I am reviewing the repository, I understand it's using a particular Angular version. I may need to know what exactly the latest version to compare the features or what features went to the project to understand. Then Copilot brings that information from the website through the Bing search. You can see the complete Bing update here and navigate to that particular one, or Copilot captured the information here. There is a Angular version 18 is the latest based on the official Angular blog post. You can click here and refer back the corresponding one. So in case you need something very latest or happened last day, you can query the Copilot to get that information related to the programming or development aspect. This brings the collaboration to the next level. And are we done with it? No. Obviously, as a developer, we look for more innovative ideas, more areas to collaborate. Our data is not in with the DevOps system. It goes beyond that. We may need some data from the production systems, the logs at the production environment, or the support ticket released by the customer, or many other aspects. The data needs to flow from other systems to our DevOps systems. So Copilot or GitHub started a partnership program to integrate these external systems, integration with partner systems. This available as part of the Copilot marketplace. You go to GitHub marketplace, we have the Copilot area and it's beta, it's a future aspect. Our companion is not sleeping, it's listening to you, what exactly you need. It's going to add more and more Copilot extensions here with our partners. So you have a bunch of partner ecosystem or the different extensions are available which brings the data from a third party or different system. So if I need some kind of that support, I can just go ahead and Copilot. I have included one of them, that is a Teams app. So I have configured Teams app and you can invoke it using @Teams app and specify what kind of requirement is that. So similarly, any marketplace extension, when you integrate, it comes with an agent or a skill which start with @ the skill name and your query will come after that. So you can get specific information from a third-party system into your development environment using this kind of integrations. That's a partner integration and it's just in the beginning stage and the beta is released. Now, Copilot is not stopping there. It's taking you to the world of dreams or the innovations, that is how you can convert an idea into code or to the software directly in a natural language way. Let us have a quick view on how this innovation is coming up. This is yet to come in very early stage, alpha stage, but this will help you to take your development journey into a next level. So I'm going to demonstrate this with the help of my real estate app. This innovation is available as part of multiple places. One place is your code itself. You can specify what kind of requirement you are looking at here. So the idea needs to be passed as an input. So I am going to have a simple idea of the owner detail itself. So I want to create the owner entity, add APIs for handling owner CRUD operation. So this is what I needed. I'm just starting the task, and Copilot Workspace, that is the innovation we are talking about, comes up with a detailed specification which talks about what are the existing functionalities available, if it is available, what kind of modification, or if it is not available, how to do the new modification to meet our requirement. If we feel that this requires some additions or anything, you can add it, or directly go ahead and generate the plan which gives the step-by-step instruction on how to modify which file, what kind of modification goes to each of these files. Once the plan is done, go ahead and implement. The Copilot is going to work across multiple files to implement your ideas or realize your ideas into the code or software area. This is the real innovation coming in picture. The developer focus on the innovation, pass the innovation idea into Copilot, which will brings the complete implementation back to you, and it touch upon multiple files and it's able to generate all files on the fly to implement the complete aspect. As you can see that it's changed the property entity by adding a new DB set, and the details comes here. The owner class is added as part of the entity, and the owner controller, the complete controller is developed, and going to update the readme file with what exactly the change we are doing. So it's touch upon the readme. Some details in terms of owners details are added with the API information into the readme. If you feel this looks fine, you can go ahead and create a PR. Normally we go ahead and create PRs for any new implementation. So this is the innovation which takes you to the next level. Going back to my journey with my companion, we started in 2022 by the coding. Then comes the chat with all the support in the NFR and other areas came in picture. And later the collaboration on the .com itself came in 2024. And obviously the extensions or the marketplace, the extension with the partner ecosystem is just started. Same the case with the Copilot Workspace, where ideas convert directly into software is also in the initial stages. In this journey, obviously we touch upon the CLI based Copilot, the different APIs to support my ecosystem, and the mobile. Copilot in the mobile helped me to get the support of Copilot on the flow. So this is our journey. I hope some of you may be joined in the middle or in the beginning stage. I urge everyone to join the journey with your AI companion. Look for the new development experience. Thank you.